In this video, we're going to explore the Vedic horoscope of Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of Defense in the Trump administration, who is currently navigating the most intense phase of his Sade Sati, with Saturn in Pisces transiting just 1 degree from his natal moon. Rahu is adding more fuel to the fire with its transiting position so close to Saturn and his natal moon. We're also going to look at the chart of the United States and its current third stage of Sade Sati, and other overlaps between the two charts. Although Rahu will soon move out of Pisces into Aquarius on May 18th, 2025, Saturn, as a very slow-moving planet, is going to hover very close to Hegseth's moon for the remainder of the year. There's a cloud of superstition and fear traditionally associated with Sade Sati. But like all aspects of Vedic astrology, the reality is far more nuanced. This powerful transit can bring experiences ranging from profound challenges to remarkable achievements, or often a complex blend of both. Pete Hegseth exemplifies this complexity, experiencing his greatest career elevation during this period, rising to one of the highest positions in government while simultaneously facing unprecedented scrutiny and challenges. Regardless of success or failure, Sade Sati brings an unprecedented collision of Saturn's pressure, disappointments, and demands that are at odds with the comfort-seeking and very vulnerable moon. When these forces meet in direct opposition, this period inevitably becomes one of the most challenging periods of our lives. In Hegseth's chart, this collision is particularly dramatic. His Scorpio ascendant creates a controlled, strategic outer persona, while his Pisces moon reveals an inner emotional landscape that's sensitive and apprehensive. Saturn's current transit brings these contradictions into sharp focus, demanding integration between his public responsibilities and private vulnerabilities. This transit holds vital lessons for all of us. Sade Sati occurs for everyone approximately every 30 years as Saturn moves through the 12th, 1st, and 2nd houses from our natal moon. Most people experience this cycle 2 to 3 times during their lifetime, making it one of the most significant and universal astrological patterns we encounter. If you have your natal moon in Aquarius, Pisces, or Aries, you are currently in your Sade Sati. It should come as no surprise that the United States is also in a Sade Sati period that started around in 2020 and will end in February 2028. The second stage of Sade Sati for the United States ended on March 25th, 2025, as the U.S. entered her third stage with the announcement of Trump's tariffs. The U.S. is also running Rahu Mahadasha in the 8th house, and since the moon rules that house, this makes this Sade Sati cycle one of great instability and crises associated with the 8th house. Financially, the 8th house includes the sudden ups and downs in fortune, the stock market, public and foreign debt, interest rates, taxes, and of course, tariffs. As you can see here, Pete Hegseth has a Scorpio ascendant. Scorpio is a penetrating and determined sign, naturally aligned with a career in crisis management, power dynamics, and the military. The militant warrior energy of Scorpio expresses powerfully through its ruler Mars, positioned in the royal sign of Leo in the 10th house of career and public recognition. His 10th house of career and public recognition forms a formidable powerhouse with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn creating a Raj Yoga through the interaction of angles and trines. Jupiter, ruler of the 5th, Saturn, ruler of the 4th, and Mars, ruler of the 1st, conjunct in an angle. The Sun, ruler of Leo and the 10th house, positioned in the 7th house, aspecting the 1st house, creates another powerful Raj Yoga, explaining his dramatic rise as one of the youngest secretaries of defense in U.S. history. Jupiter bestows a sense of purpose and luck. Mars provides courage and decisiveness, while Saturn gives the ability to handle the pressures of this strong 10th house. However, Saturn's position in the 10th house also guarantees periods of significant obstacles and suffering in his career, especially during the Saturn's Dashabhukti periods and Sade Sati transits. Hegseth's chart reveals a profound psychological contrast between his emotionally guarded Scorpio ascendant and his sensitive or bleeding heart Pisces moon. While Scorpio provides a defensive strategic approach to life, the moon in Pisces creates an internal emotional landscape that is vulnerable, permeable, and boundaryless. This contrast is further amplified by Rahu in Cancer, another water sign, which intensifies the moon's vulnerability. Rahu in the 9th in Cancer also creates an extreme and emotional approach to religion or beliefs. This creates a psychological split where Hegseth presents as a disciplined strategic warrior, which is Scorpio, reinforced by Leo's courage and leadership qualities in the 10th house, while internally harboring deep sensitivity of Pisces moon and insecurity, as well as feeling overwhelmed with the responsibilities of his powerful 10th house. Another way to think about it is, while Saturn is the disciplined soldier, his moon carries the deep wounds of war trauma. His moon also forms a Kemendruma yoga with no planets in adjacent signs, leaving his emotions without any anchor. Pisces moon, without this support, often feels adrift in a vast ocean. This textbook moon in Pisces pattern also explains reports of his seeking escape from emotional intensity through alcohol and erratic behavior, an attempt to bridge his contrasting inner moon and outer 10th house natures. In his own words, in his memoir, he talks about a carefully crafted facade of goodness that masked personal struggles. While Hegseth's powerful 10th house stellium creates the Raj Yogas that elevated him to this prestigious position, the dasha of one of these planets must also activate to give full results. The current active 8th house Venus Mahadasha presents significant challenges for his tenure as Secretary of Defense. Venus positioned at 5 degrees 33 retrograde in the 8th house of Gemini creates an environment where high stakes and crises dominate rather than stability and strength. This Venus conjunct Mercury in Gemini is much more suited for the job of a TV news anchor or even an author. He has published 5 books to date, than the position this powerful 10th house has elevated him to. Hegseth began his Sade Sati in January 2023 when Saturn entered Aquarius. By November 2024, Trump had announced Hegseth as his choice for Secretary of Defense, a dramatic change in the amount of pressure for someone who was a Fox News host. The intensity of his Sade Sati escalated dramatically on March 29, 2025, when Saturn entered Pisces. As of making this video, Saturn is less than a degree from his natal moon at 5 degrees 16 of Pisces. The closer Saturn is to the moon, the more concentrated the pressure. The next few months through the end of 2025 are going to be the most challenging of his entire 7.5-year Sade Sati cycle. The Signal Chat scandal and the Pentagon leak investigations that have emerged just days after Saturn entered Pisces perfectly illustrate Saturn's unyielding demand for accountability. Saturn's restrictive energy is directly confronting his emotional nature without a buffer, forcing issues previously escaped or denied into the harsh light of public scrutiny. The Sade Sati transit of Saturn over the moon becomes more potent if you're in the Dasha or the Bhukti of Moon or Saturn. Hegseth is in his Venus Mahadasha, Moon Bhukti. Currently, his moon is also in the nakshatra of Saturn, which adds to the potential pressure of this period. In addition, the ruler of the moon, Jupiter, is also conjunct Saturn, which makes this Sade Sati period very consequential for his survival as the Secretary of Defense. By the way, this 5th house Pisces moon also gives Hegseth his 7 children. The outcome of Sade Sati in a horoscope can be predicted by Saturn's resilience and the moon's ability to withstand Saturn's pressure. The strong underlying Raj Yogas and the strong Saturn in the 10th house combinations in his chart suggest resilience even amid serious challenges. However, with Saturn hovering less than 5 degrees of his moon for all of 2025, all indications are that his moon will buckle and not be able to sustain the internal tensions, which will most likely get him replaced or sidelined in 2025, especially as he's also running Venus Dasha. Venus represents soft power and not the best suited planet for a Secretary of Defense to start with. America's Rahu Mahadasha amplifies the unpredictable revolutionary energy of this period. While Hegseth's Venus Dasha brings relationship and alliance challenges to the forefront, the 8th house and Sade Sati emphasis in both charts points to hidden forces emerging, power struggles intensifying, and transformative crises demanding resolution. Hegseth's personal Sade Sati mirrors America's own national Sade Sati, with both simultaneously running the 8th house Dashas, his Venus and America's Rahu. The 8th house emphasis in both charts, particularly with Rahu involved, strongly indicates potential entanglements in a major military conflict. As we have explored through Pete Hegseth's chart, Sade Sati represents one of life's most profound crucibles. When Saturn's unyielding reality confronts the idealism and desires of our moon, whether Defense Secretary, an ordinary citizen, or a country, this transit demands integration between what our heart yearns for, that's the moon, and what Saturn's boundaries permit. Hegseth's journey through this celestial gauntlet mirrors America's own national Sade Sati, both simultaneously also navigating the difficult 8th house dashas of transformation through crisis, both seeking Saturn's stability amid Moon's upheaval. As Saturn continues its slow march through Pisces, crossing Hegseth's moon and the final 3rd stage of America's Sade Sati, we witness in real time how ancient celestial patterns manifest in modern political crucibles. Whether Hegseth and the U.S. emerge transformed or overwhelmed by this transit, this astrological journey reminds us that even at the heights of power, we all must eventually reconcile what we wish could be with what Saturn reveals reality actually is.